Today uh, we discuss about middleware concept in Laravel. We are having different topics like introduction, defining middleware, registering middleware, middleware parameters, terminable middleware. So apart from this, we are having subtopics like global middleware, assigning middleware to routes, middleware groups, middleware aliases, sorting middleware. So these are all the main topics and subtopics within the middleware topic in Laravel. So let's see one by one and what is meant by first of all what is meant by middleware. Middleware provide a convenient mechanism for inspecting and filtering HTTP requests entering our application. So additional middleware can be written to perform a variety of tasks besides authentication. So a logging middleware might log all incoming requests to our application. A variety of middleware are included in Laravel, including middleware for authentication and CSRF production. However, all user-defined middleware are typically located in our application app HTTP middleware directory. Now we see defining middleware. We will be using command called PHP artisan make colon middleware ensure token is valid. So here the ensure token is valid is the middleware name which we are going to create. So it will create a ensure token is valid class within our app HTTP middleware directory. In this middleware, we will only allow access to the route if the supplied token input matches to a specified value. Otherwise, it will redirect the user back to the home URL. So it will be having one method, handle method, which is taking parameters, request parameter, comma, closure, and the return type is the response. And within that, it is filtering or validating the input incoming requests. Middleware and responses. A middleware can perform tasks before or after passing the request deeper into the application. This middleware would perform its task after the request is handled by the application. So the syntax will be like this: dollar response equal to dollar next of dollar request. Return dollar response. Registering middleware. Now we see global middleware. If you want a middleware to run during every HTTP request to our application, we may append it to the global middleware stack in our applications bootstrap slash app.php file. We will be using with middleware method. Within that with middleware method, we will be using append method uh, which attaches our middleware to that middleware stack in our bootstrap slash app.php. The middleware object provided to the with middleware closure is an instance of Illuminate Foundation configuration middleware and is responsible for managing the middleware assigned to our application's routes. The append method adds the middleware to the end of the list of global middleware. If you would like to add a middleware to the beginning of the list, we should use the prepend method. Manually managing Laravel's default global middleware. So we will be using use method. So with this we can manage Laravel's default global middleware, which contains different middleware classes like trust proxies, handle calls, prevent request during maintenance, validate post size, trim strings, convert empty strings to null. So like this it will be having different middlewares, and within that use method we will be using. Assigning middlewares to the route. If you would like to assign middleware to specific route, we may invoke the middleware method when defining the route. So it will be like this. First of all, we will type in the middleware class. Use app HTTP middleware ensure token is valid, and after that we will be writing the route method and route packet get method. Route double colon get URI comma closure. To that we will be attaching the middleware class to the middleware method, like middleware of ensure token is valid double colon class. So this is a way of assigning middleware to routes. We may assign multiple middleware to the route by passing an array of middleware names to the middleware method. Route double colon get slash comma function middleware first class comma second class. Excluding middleware. When assigning middleware to a group of routes, we may occasionally need to prevent the middleware from being applied to an individual route within the group. So we may accomplish this using the without middleware method. With this, we can exclude the middleware without middleware method. We may also exclude a given set of middleware from an entire group of route definitions. So route double colon without middleware ensure token is valid class come group hyphen aroma group function route double colon get profile functions. Like this we will be having different routes. Like this we will be using without middleware method. And this without middleware method can only remove route middleware and does not apply to global middleware. Now we see middleware groups. Sometimes we may want to group several middleware under a single key to make them easier to assign to routes. We may accomplish this using the append to group method within our applications bootstrap slash app.php file with middleware. Within that middleware method we'll be using append to group method, and if you want to prepend to group, and within that we will be mentioning the group name. Middleware groups may be assigned to routes and controller actions using the same syntax as individual middleware. Route double colon get slash comma function middleware of group name. Route double colon middleware group name group function of, within that we will be mentioning the different routes. Like this we will be using the group name either in the middleware method to an individual route or to a group of routes by using middleware method. We are having laravel's default middleware groups, web and API middleware groups that contain common middleware we may want to apply to our web and API routes. Laravel automatically applies these middleware groups to the corresponding routes slash web.php and routes slash api.php files. The web middleware group. Illuminate cookie middleware encrypt cookies, add queued cookies to response, start session, share error from session, validate CSRF token, substitute bindings. So these are all the web middleware default middleware middlewares that are available in web middleware group. And we are having API middleware group. So eliminate routing middleware substitute bindings. So if you would like to append or prepend middleware to these groups, we may use the web and API methods within our application bootstrap slash app.php file. The web and API methods are convenient alternatives to the append to group method. So syntax will be like this: with middleware, within that function middleware, dollar middleware, web, within that as an argument we will be passing append colon ensure user is subscribed to the Google class, and middleware API prepend ensure valid token is valid the Google class. So like this we will be using web method and API method to handle the default middleware groups. We may even replace one of our Laravel's default middleware group entries with a custom middleware of our own. So we will be using replace method. Or we may remove a middleware entirely. So we will be using remove method. Manually managing Laravel's default middleware groups. So if you would like to manually manage all of the middleware within the Laravel's default web and API middleware groups within the Laravel's default API and web and API middleware groups, we may redefine the groups entirely. So we will be using web and API middleware groups, and as necessary we can redefine them. By default, web and API middleware groups are automatically applied to our application corresponding routes slash web.php and routes slash api.php files by the bootstrap slash app.php file. Middleware aliases, we will be using alias method. Alias method. So we are having once we define alias, we will be using that alias to the alias method, alias name to the middleware method. We will be passing that alias name to the middleware method as a parameter. So some of Laravel's built-in middleware are also alias by default. So the auth middleware is an alias for the illuminate auth middleware, authenticate middleware. Below a list of the default middleware aliases. So this is auth. This is alias of authenticate. Illuminate auth middleware authenticate. Auth.basic. Authenticate with basic auth. Auth.session. Authenticate session. Cache.headers. Set cache headers. Can authorize middleware. Authorize. Guest. Redirect if authenticated. Password.confirm. Required password. Required password. Precognitive. Handle precognitive request. Signed. Validate signature. Subscribed. Verify billable is subscribed. Throttle. Throttle requests or throttle requests with redis. Verified. Ensure email is verified. Like this, we are having aliases and the corresponding middleware classes. Sorting middleware. So we will be using priority method in order to sort the middlewares that are available in bootstrap slash app.php file. So sometimes we may want middleware to execute in a specific order, but not having that control over their order when they are assigned to the route. So in these situations, we may specify our middleware priority using the priority method. Middleware parameters. Middleware can also receive additional parameters, and additional middleware parameters will be passed to the middleware after the $next argument. Middleware parameters may be specified when defining the route by separating the middleware name and parameters with a double colon. A colon. For example, we want to pass editor as a parameter. Then middleware of role is a middleware class name, and for that we will be passing the editor as a parameter. Role colon editor. So the entire syntax will be like this: route double colon put post slash id function string dollar id middleware of role colon editor. Multiple parameters may be delimited by commas. So middleware of role colon editor comma publisher. So like this, multiple parameters we will be passing. Terminable middleware. Sometimes the middleware may need to do some work after the HTTP response has been sent to the browser. So if we define a terminate method on our middleware and our web server using fast CGI, the terminate method will automatically be called after the response is sent to the browser. Like this we will be using terminate method. Suppose if I want to perform some action, or if you want to uh, do some work after the HTTP response has been sent to the browser. So in those cases, we will be using terminate method on our middleware. We may define terminate method on our middleware, and the web server. Whenever our web server is using fast CGI, the terminate method will automatically be called. So after the response is sent to the browser. The terminate method should receive both request and the response. Once we have defined a terminable middleware, we should add it to the list of the routes or global middleware in our application's bootstrap slash app.php file. When calling the terminate method on our middleware, so laravel will resolve a fresh instance of the middleware from the service container. If you would like to use the same middleware instance instead of fresh instance when the handle and terminate methods are called, so register the middleware with the container using the container's singleton method. Singleton method. So typically this should be done in the register method of our app service provider. So like this we will be using terminate method. This is all about middleware concept, middleware topic in Laravel. So thank you so much. This is Universal Horse Star Ravindar yampalla. Thanks to all of my fans, supporters, and followers, and special thanks to all of my YouTube subscribers. Thank you so much.